I'm going to show you how I would step by step go through a yearbook page and design it and make it, okay? I'm already showing you over here the memory card, and whenever you are doing photos, you want to upload them to iPhoto so that way you have all the photos that you currently have, okay? So, for example, over here, they're already imported here, but it would say that you have new photos to import, and you would click import all. I already have them over here. And as you can see, what I have done is I have gone through baseball and I have actually told you where I was for each of the photos. So that way, in case you need that for whatever reason, you can have that if you want to also put in your name of the photographer. Um, so that way you know that you were the ones that took those photos. If you want to put a date attached to it, you can do all those things as well. Basically, organize this the way that you want to organize it. As you can see here, I have baseball and I have softball, and then I put them in like that. And so to create an album, you just click on, you can do a folder first, which is what baseball and softball are. They are folders, and then everything in them is albums. And you can kind of go, if you want to go folder sports, and then folder baseball, and then do your albums, you can go that way as well. It is important that you are uploading photos to iPhoto almost immediately, so that way you can organize your photos and keep them organized and keep them looking good, because it's really tough to kind of go through at the when you're working on a page and not knowing where all your photos are at. And so organizing like this is a great way to do it. So I have put in all my photos. So as you can see here, my Union one, I have about 401 photos. Clarksville, about 377. Linville, Sully, 554. Janesville, I got a little bit more. I got 1,271. Sigourney, 552. And HLV, 682. So overall, I wasn't even keeping track of how many that was, but that's a lot of photos. It's a couple thousand photos. You don't want to upload all of these to Pictavo because that's a lot of time for a lot of photos that you might not actually use. And so my advice is to only upload the good ones, or and if you don't want to go that route, upload the ones that you know for sure you're going to use. I would just go with the good ones and the ones that you know that you could potentially use, because you might need a certain photo in a certain place. You need extra photos for some of the other, like the candid pages and stuff like that. So all the good ones you want to put up there. So like for example, let's see, I'll go back to Sigourney. I was just kind of testing out the light here, and so I don't want to upload those photos. Okay. So now that I have done this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a spreadsheet of all the players for that sport. If you're doing a club or organization page, like a band one, like a chorus one, you can do the same thing. So that way you know who you have and who you want to include in the yearbook. And the goal is, if you're doing a sport and baseball, the only real sport that is probably really tough to get every single player on doing an action shot is football. Everything else has enough players or has enough spaces and spots and photos for everyone to be on there once. And so that's always the goal here. So there's all my players. The ones in red, they are, so those three, Chaz, Tyrus, and Gavin, are currently 8th graders playing on JV or varsity. And so that can be your call next year, is do you include them on the page? We usually don't. Colt and Josh are both also 8th graders, but they've been playing a lot more varsity. And so I think that was kind of the call that I'm going to make, is if I have a really good one of Josh or a really good one of Colt, I'm going to use those on the page, because I always look for the best photos and I always put the best photos in. I try to accommodate the seniors a little bit more, and I usually start with seniors on the pages and then go work my way down to freshmen to junior, sophomore, freshman, and go that route. I also have Ashton Bradley and Riley Zook in red because they quit partway through the year. And so that's also going to be a decision that you need to make on if you want to include them or not. And it's, for me, it's a case by case basis. Ashton was out for football. He was out for wrestling. He was out for track. He's going to be in the yearbook enough. Riley was out for wrestling, I think, but that's about it. So if I have a photo of Riley and it's a good photo, again, I always go back to if it's a good photo, I'll use it. But chances are I will probably not put those two into the yearbook as well. So the 5 that I currently have there in red, I probably will not have in the yearbook. Everyone else on this page, I want to get them on there at least once, if not more. Some of them, Gabe, had a lot of good action shots and he pitched and he was a good hitter. He's going to have probably more photos on there than someone who didn't, okay? Now, for baseball and softball, one of the things on your page that you want to do is you want to divide it up into different sections. You don't want just random photos wherever you go, wherever you're at on there. And so for baseball and softball, one of the ways that I always divided up the page was I did an offensive one. I did offense and I did defense. And so pitching is its own separate thing, and then hitting and sliding, those are offensive ones. Defensive ones are ground balls, pop flies, stuff like that, and then other. And I say other just sometimes there's a good photo with a coach. There's sometimes other things that have happened. So, for example, this year, Ryan Hushik actually lost 2 teeth playing in the outfield. He tripped, he fell, lost 2 teeth. They rushed him to the hospital. But the players from both teams were out in the outfield looking for his teeth. And so that might be an interesting thing to put into the yearbook because it's something that happened. It's something that doesn't happen all the time. So that's kind of where other comes in. Another one that you can maybe do is if you want to do a section just for JV. Sometimes JV gets its own section, so that way you can maybe do a group shot of the JV team, or you can do something and get all those players in there who maybe wouldn't be in there before, okay? So, here's what I do, and it's very, very, very simple, okay? So, I go through photos, and I usually open it up like this, and I usually go through one at a time. And, and I know that, so for example, this one, it's not great. I mean, it's fine. I mean, it looks like he's going to hit the ball, but he doesn't. And you always want to make your players look good, and you always want to make your, the people in the yearbook look good. And so, finding that perfect shot, okay? So, let's just say, for example, let's see if I can find actually a good one. So everything before this, I will not use, okay? I'm already, as you can see up here, I'm already 34 photos in. No, I'm messing up there. Okay, so this one, let's say this is a good one, okay? Now, does it look the best right now? No. Any photo that you're putting into the yearbook, I would edit it, okay? I wouldn't edit it to the degree of it looks really cool and it's dark, and there's stuff. But I mean, even just a simple, there's a magic wand thing up here. I don't know if it did anything. There you go, and that changes it a little bit. You can also see that it is a little crooked, and I usually fix that up in Lightroom, Adobe Lightroom, and we have Lightroom, and we can do that. And you can touch up in there too, okay? So just because it's crooked and it's a little off-colored doesn't mean it's a bad one, okay? So let's just say I'm going to use this photo. I'm probably not. In my head, I already kind of know this is Josh Dostal. I already kind of know what photo I want to use for Josh because I took it at the last game. And that's something that your photographers will know, if they're doing their job correctly, or if you're doing your job correctly as a photographer, you will know, oh, that's a keeper. That's a photo that I want to use. And you can actually star it. You can save it, right on the camera, and I can go over that as well. No, I just turned this sideways. I don't want to do that. Okay. So let's say I want to use this photo, okay? Up here is the info button. And right here, there is a number, image 3916. And what I usually do then is over here, I find Josh Dostal. Okay, and that was defense. And then I just type in 3916. So now I know that I have a photo of him in defense. So I know Josh didn't hit the ball and he didn't run bases, so I know I won't get anything for him there. But like Gabe might have, 2 of them here and 3 of them here and 2 here and 1 here and 1 here. And then I can kind of go through and go, okay, I know I have enough photos of Gabe. I'm still looking for, Cole. I'm still looking for Tyler down there. I would do this as I go throughout the year. I wouldn't wait until the end of the seasons for these, because so that way like 3, and maybe it's only like halfway through the year or through the season or 3/4 of the way through, and you're like, okay, I know I need to get photos of Austin. I don't have any good photos of Austin, so I'm going to take photos of everyone, but I am going to focus on Austin a little bit more. Okay, so. Now, what you can also do on here, if you want to, you can do the little heart, and then that'll go to your favorites. So then they're all in your favorites, okay? One of the things that I noticed that they did in the current yearbook is they just took this and they dragged it immediately to the Pictavo website. What you're going to do is you're going to create a new folder on the desktop, and you're going to rename it. And I usually just call it Good Baseball, okay? And then you're going to take this and you're going to drag it into there. And I want to show you. So this one right now is 5.4 megabytes, and that's good. That's what you really want. If you drag it directly to Pictavo, it's going to be 10 times smaller than that, or maybe half the size. It's going to be smaller, and it's not going to be as good as quality, and it's going to hurt your yearbook thing, okay? So, what I will be doing is I will be going through all the photos that I have, and I will be doing what I just showed you there, okay? And so when we come back, we'll talk about uploading photos, we'll talk about editing photos, and stuff of that nature, so that way your photos look the best for the yearbook. We can talk about cropping later on, but you don't need to crop this photo because you can crop it in the website thing, okay? So, yeah. All right.